What's up, guys? Mr. Second Passport. Today I'm going to cover the two major differences I see between living in Colombia versus Ecuador, right? And I've lived in Colombia for years of my life, primarily in Medellin and Bogota, but I've also spent significant time in Cali and even in Barranquilla, believe it or not. Like I said, I know Colombia pretty well, and I currently live where I've lived now for several years here in Ecuador. How do the two compare in my personal opinion? Well, there's two major differences. They're pretty similar if we're being honest. But there's two big differences that you should take into account, right? Number one is due to the decades and decades of civil unrest and overall insecurity in a place like Colombia, uh, life in Colombia, still to this day, you kind of feel trapped in the city, right? You're kind of sequestered to the cities, more or less, because there's just a lot of areas in the countryside are just no go, even to this day. You know, if they're if they're still controlled by narco bandits and whatnot, you just don't know. So I mean, like the country things you can do in the countryside and things like that are kind of limited in a place like Colombia. Obviously, in the last several years, as the security situation has improved over the last 10 or 15 specifically, obviously there's become more and more options as far as places to live and things to do in the countryside of Colombia. But for the most part, all these cities, man, Medellin, Bogota, Bucaramanga, Cali, they all can feel like you're kind of living in a hole and you're just kind of in the city like all the time, and you can't really leave, or you can but you don't really want to because there's just really not much to do outside the city. You're just kind of stuck in the city, right? Stuck to city life is how I'd like to describe it in Colombia, right? So again, that's a big difference. Like in Ecuador, there's a whole bunch of stuff, nice places to visit, see, do, and live in the small towns of Ecuador, in the countryside of Ecuador, as well as the cities, right? So for me, that's a big difference. Kind of being stuck to city life, or being able to live wherever you want in a place like Ecuador. So for me, that's the first big difference. The second big difference is, I know you see all this coastline in Colombia, right? All this coastline, but actually the cities of Colombia don't have beach, believe it or not. Yeah, it's crazy. With all this coastline, Colombia has almost no beaches. That's why the locals, if you ask the locals if they want to go to the beach, where do they go? They go to the islands up here in the Caribbean that's part of Colombia called San Andres. That's where they go when they go on beach vacation, because they don't really have much beaches to speak of on their coast. Like I lived in Barranquilla. Barranquilla, big city, no beach, right? No beach in Barranquilla. Cartagena as well, not much beach right especially not in the old town, but right in the town itself. You kind of have to take like a little boat thing and go out to little islands near Cartagena if you want beaches and stuff. Very choppy waters. That's what I remember from that experience. And like even Santa Marta, a smaller town up here kind of near Barranquilla, you would think has beach. No beach. Like right next to Santa Marta, there is a small town called Taganga, where it has like a backpacker feel. A lot of backpackers like to go there, right? The beach is just okay. And then, of course, right next to Santa Marta, you have this area called Rodadero, which is kind of like this place where Colombians have vacation homes that they go to maybe once a year. So there's just a bunch of these towers that are just empty, right? You get several of these cities down here in Latin America that are like this, just empty stores of wealth. For the most part, not much happening, not much going on, and just kind of lame, if we're being honest, right? And the town of Santa Marta itself has like a port, but like no beach, like real or a decent beach, to say the least, right? And like the west coast of Colombia actually has only one place anyone can even go, and that is this town called Nuquí. It's kind of up here on the west coast here, but you have to fly in. That's the only way to get there. And up here On the Caribbean side of Colombia, again, there's a really nice park called Parque Tayrona right up here in La Guajira, right on the corner of Venezuela. Very amazing beaches, but not that accessible. Like even the Parque Tayrona, where I visited, you have to walk, you have to really hike it in, hump it in several hours just to get to the beach. You can't just drive up to the beach, right? And the beach is really nice, but there's nowhere to stay, being a national park and everything. So you kind of have to walk in and you have to walk out, right? So again, the beach options are pretty limited when it comes to Colombia, right? So again, not many beaches to speak of, or beach cities, definitely not in Colombia. For me, that's the second major difference between, say, Colombia and an Ecuador. That's it. I'm Mr. Second Passport. If you like this or subscribe, hit the like button below. Take care.